So I'm hired to reduce bullying. I know that this kind of trouble behaviors has 3 causes. I did not find out by myself. Researchers for the Conseil supérieur de l'éducation agree that this phenomenon has been witnessed all across North America. So there's been 3 major factors responsible for that increase in 15 years. First, structure of the family all across North America, from the Rio Grande to the North Pole. Structure of the family has been weakened all the time during the last 30 years, including 1985 until 2000. What does it create into a kid's brain? Folks, it creates pain and fear. And since I've learned that from the Conseil supérieur de l'éducation, I enjoy having a communication with any age group of students and asking them to tell me what they felt when they heard that their parents were divorcing or going out of the house. At the beginning, I thought these were only families that divorced had invaded. I then started to ask questions like, have you ever seen your mom crying? So I have 3/4 of all classes with children raising their hands like this. And I asked them not to turn their head to see what others are doing. You just think about what's happening into their home. Have they seen their mom crying? Have they seen their daddy crying? A little less dads than moms. And then, by accident one day, I asked, have you ever heard your mom and dad having a big fight? Folks, here's how some kids answered to me. 2 hands up. Structure of the family has become weaker and weaker during the last quarter of a century, and this is factor number 1 for the increase of the number of kids suffering bullying or inflicting bullying. Factor number 1. Factor number 2. Parental guidance is losing and losing and losing authority or credibility. Parents don't want to represent authority anymore. Authority is something that smells bad. People complain against the federal government, the provincial government, the school principal, the mayor. Everybody is corrupted. But when comes the time for parents to become president or authority in their family government, they don't want to do the job anymore. They think that this will be bad for the education of their child. They think that it will frustrate their child. So they don't want to do it. I have wonderful stories about scenes that I've seen in restaurants, for example. But this is factor number 2. Parents don't want to represent authority anymore. They think that saying no is bad. Third factor, massive exposure to violent entertainment. How much violent entertainment are we talking about? This conference is about overexposure. Overexposure refers to the amount of time you spend in front of a screen, and also the type, even if you don't watch a lot. If what you see is overloading your brain, this has an impact. So these are 2 sides of overexposure. How many scenes of violence? We're talking here about 100,000 acts of aggression before the age of 13, all going to their brain, including rapes, plus within these 100,000 acts of aggression, 8,000 murders. This is what children's brains are exposed to in our civilization, in our society. We're not coming from outer space. We live here. We got used to it. We hoped that kids would be able to make a difference between fiction, what they watch, and what they do. Well, they can less and less make the difference between the two. Why is there so much violence on TV and movies? Because it sells, folks. If you put violence in it, they're going to sell more. In 1985, the most recent discovery by the industry of the power of violence, particularly violence against women, this discovery was made in 1995, when the first rappers started including into their songs lyrics and in their video clips, in their music videos, scenes of violence against women. Misogyny in 1985 proved that it brought more money to the industry. So the industry didn't stop putting some misogyny in the movies or giving nice trophies to artists or singers who would use misogyny to increase the sales. No, they gave them trophy. So Eminem became a hero, Snoop Dogg, all the names I'm telling you today are the names that children taught me. They've been doing my own media education, so I'm giving this knowledge to you. This doesn't come from university, it comes from children. Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent, etc. They have many examples to give me. How did I learn about this? Because when I meet parents in those schools that hired me, I'm telling them that, folks, these kids are not the teacher's kids. They are your children. You had a relationship with a woman or a man, and it gave that kid. And this kid is coming to this school, and I was hired to make these kids responsible citizens. I need your help. What help do I need from you, parents? First, you don't spend enough time having decent conversation with your child. In my PowerPoint presentation, I have a nice slide about study made by researchers at University of Michigan. Christine, Michigan. Yeah, Michigan. Listen to this. 1983. Time spent by parents for family conversations was 1 hour and 12 minutes. That was in 1983. 14 years later, 1997, same researchers, same research, time for family conversation had gone down to 34 minutes per week. How much time these young kids spent in front of a screen? Average, 25 hours per week. If we add up, like the Kaiser Family Foundation research showed, if we add up all screens that these children watch, because they're on the computer while the movie is going on, or the TV program is going on, or the singer is there teaching them misogyny, if we add up all the hours, that's over 40 hours per week in the same human brains that were alive, that became alive because this mom and this dad had this kid. 3 factors. We want parents to get involved into reducing bullying. Folks, you are a mom and a dad. You need to spend more time having a conversation with your child. When are you going to do it? Mealtime. How many kids eat in front of a TV set? More than half. So they eat, and they're not even interested in having a conversation with their mom, dad, and brothers and sisters, or friends, or whoever is around the table. No. They eat to put food into their stomach. And we think it's too bad because we have an obesity problem in our society. They need conversation with their parents. So that's the first help I ask for children from parents. The second help I ask from them, is that I tell them about a study made that Christine is going to talk later today. I want to make a very short presentation today. Dr. Thomas Robinson, University Stanford, California, published his research in 2001. And in the American Medical Association Journal of the AMA. Folks, after getting these kids to reduce screen exposure for 10 days, and then after these 10 days, reducing their exposure to screens under 7 hours per week, he found something that any drugstore would sell today if it were a pill or an injection. Reduction of verbal violence by 50%, 50% less slut, accuse, fun, hurting people with language, verbal violence, and 40% reduction of physical violence. I phoned or I emailed Dr. Robinson, having his address from my friend Dave Grossman. He answered to me, Mr. Brodeur, my research can be public. So I wanted to translate all this material in French. I want to do this too. I want to get the result. He said, Mr. Brodeur, I got at least 2 years of peer review of my research because I don't want my university to be made fun of by people who will say that this research is not credible. Need 2 years. I didn't want to wait. So I created my own program, and I named this program the 10-Day Screen-Free Challenge. And I got tremendous results. I present this project to parents, right? I present this to parents, and I tell these parents, that I'm ready to give their children the will to turn off television for 10 days, the will, and the power to do it successfully for 10 days. I offer these parents to do this with their child because the teachers told me that they're ready to help me. But this will not happen if you parents don't give me the job of doing it. I will love your children, I will love you, but I won't do the work if you don't give me the job, the mandate. Is that good, the mandate? And you know what? The number of parents in the gym is higher than any meeting at school. What is this crazy story about turning off television? Don't they have enough work at school to come and decide what's going to be happening into my home? So they come to this conference, this speech. They have this presentation that you heard today, very small part of it. It's about 1 hour presentation. And then there's a question and comments. And then there's a vote. And the vote is always unanimous. We want our children to participate into this program. So to get the children ready to want to do it, it's not a punishment. It's not a sacrifice. It's a fantastic challenge. Because you're going to be, with teenagers, we need to explain that. You're going to be facing the 2 most powerful industries on earth today. The marketing industry and the entertainment industry. They know your brain, folks. They know your brain, and they know how to get into your brain, and they know how to make you still watch the program, even if it fills you with fear and horror. They know how to feed your brain and keep you there, sitting and watching. I want to make you masters of these screens. Instead of staying a prey of these screens, of the industry behind these screens, I want you to be the masters in your home. And to tell to these screens, you're not running anymore. You're going on a 10-day holiday, and you're going to stay off for 10 days. I want to give you that power. All exercise we give to teachers are all educational. They're not out of school activity. It's an in-school activity. an educational activity. And we have tremendous years up. We started doing it in 2003. Up to today, we probably have, oh, microphone, yeah, I need it. We didn't put this in here. Since 2003, we probably had over 100 schools doing it, trying it. They don't know what's going to happen. It's a mystery. They're curious. And we now have at least 10 schools in France because they heard about it. They saw their website. They printed the material. They put it into the French from France language. And so they made it really French from France, and they got tremendous result. Only 2 fantastic results that you need to know, because we have evaluation forms for parents, 30 questions. 30 questions to teachers, 30 questions to students, 3rd grade and up. And one of the questions, I'm always curious to see what's going to be the result. We ask parents, during these 10 days, has your children been in a worse mood or in a better mood? Turning off television is like depriving a smoker from his cigarette. So there should be a negative reaction. Our training now is good enough. 3 months training is good enough, and parents tell us that the kids have been in a much better mood during these 10 days. We ask children, did you feel in a better mood or in a bad mood? Some of these kids who didn't want to participate in the project, they think that they answered that they were in a bad mood. But 98% say we were in a better mood. And we ask the teachers, have you noticed a change of atmosphere in your class? Better attention of children, better homeworks, and better mood of kids during recess and in the class. And then the last question, you get only the result for 2 questions, but there's 30. They're all on the slideshow, and you can watch the slideshow. I'll tell you where in a minute. The question is this one. The school is thinking of maybe doing it once more. Would you be in favor of doing it every year, every other year, every 3rd year, or never again? You want to know the answer? Yes or no? I didn't hear clearly. Okay. All right then. 75% of parents say we want it every year. What did we do? We gave children power. We gave parents responsibility of becoming parents again, and they love us. They love this project. Their family life is completely transformed. Instead of going away or feeling away from their children, they're becoming more and more intimate with their children. They're increasing their time for family conversation, and they thank us forever. They will never forget. Even if we'd made it 7 years ago, these parents still remember.